My BF 27M is helping me raise our daughter together, but I don't know if I should leave him. 19F. Any advice? So I had originally started dating my boyfriend when I was 18 years old. After 6 months of dating, we broke up and I went in a downward spiral. I'm not proud to say it, but I used other people to try and get over him and ended up pregnant. At that time we were also still sleeping with each other, so it was unknown who my daughter's father was. We both agreed to move in with each other and get a paternity test after she was born. Once she was born, I think he fell in love with her. It didn't matter whether it was his child or not. According to him. Here's where I'm having issues. During my whole pregnancy, worked, and I provided the main portion of finances. After my daughter was born, she was hospitalized for some medical reasons, and during that time my partner cheated on me and paid an escort. After not contributing any money to anything my daughter has ever needed. Clothes, her crib, car seat, diapers, bottles, etc. I decided to forgive him and try to move on. I am now finding that he follows an obscene amount of W communities here on this app. Not only that, but I saw he also made a post during the beginning of my pregnancy about whether he should stay or not. Now I'm unsure if I should stay. For those who commented child support, I'm more than capable of providing finances for my family. As I have this whole time. I just don't know if I should try and save this relationship or not for the sake of having a family. I know not many men would stay with me after our breakup. And I admire that he did. And yet I fear that he's going to sleep with someone else again. Any advice? Now to the comment section. About the baby, I think you should just get the test anyways, cause that could be someone else's daughter. It's not up to him to be a father. If the child's biological father wants to step up, if he doesn't, oh well, but you'd have to know who the child's father is to know that unless you already asked. About the relationship, then just break up with him. This entire relationship is a mess. It's a red flag on a plane. Y'all not meant to be. He cheated on you while the child he loves was hospitalized. Just leave him. Girl, you've got a baby to take care of, you don't need the stress and drama. I get why you're grateful for him staying with you during your pregnancy, but it does not magically absolve him of cheating on you while your newborn was hospitalized, or of sleeping with a teenager when he's almost fucking 30. Whatever else he is, he's also scummy and untrustworthy, and to invoke the classic Reddit adage, there is a reason women his own age don't want him. You've got so much going for you. It's crazy impressive that you can support your daughter on your own at 19. Focus on your awesome self and your sweet little girl. She doesn't need a family in the nuclear sense, she just needs her mama to be a happy, healthy, kick-ass role model. This man is not contributing to that. Next story 2. My 18M toxic friend 19M ended our friendship badly. How do I move on? I 18M had a friend 18M, we had been friends since we were 12 and our friendship finally ended yesterday. At first they were my best friend, then the cracks started to form. They'd hate it I said anything even mildly negative of them, and they would just explode in anger, and I would be the one to pick up after them. After a while of that I just slowly started not replying to their messages because talking to them felt like I was walking on eggshells. I wasn't aware of it at the time, but I'd already gotten sick of their behavior. Then the pandemic happened and they changed, they got worse. After a while of sparse messages cause of the tension and being busy with school, they left RGC. We messaged them on every platform with no reply, and we got so worried to the point that we talked to their family to ask if they were okay. We later found out through a third party that he'd said that he hated my new friends that I made in school after the pandemic. I guess the distance between us started getting to them cause they were overly possessive of me and another friend of ours. We were a trio. At that point all the years of pent-up resentment finally boiled over, because at that point I realized that our friendship was not healthy. I made other friends and realized that friendships were not supposed to be like that. Fast forward to 4 months later, still no word from them. So after talking it out extensively with our other friend, we realized that we didn't want to keep the friendship with them anymore. So we sent a goodbye message to one of their accounts, and this time they actually responded. It all ended in an explosive argument between me and them on another platform. They were just like I just needed more time to apologize and that I was just assuming that they left. At that point I was bewildered and angry. They left without a word for 4 months. How were we supposed to know the reason when they didn't say a single word about it? I admit I wasn't faultless in this entire situation. I should have tried reaching out harder or waiting longer, but at that point I got sick of how he was behaving. Eventually the argument just ended up going in circles. Then they started going after my appearance, calling me dumb, pathetic, a 4 eyes, a transy and a he/she, I am trans, and said that if we were having the conversation face to face they would have slapped me already. After all that I said we were done there and they blocked me. Now that a bit of time has passed, I'm just thinking if I could have handled the situation differently. Sometimes I question if it was mutually toxic too, but at this point I want to move on, but after years of getting used to this I don't know how to move on. Now to the comment section. Hate to break it, but sometimes these things happen. If someone is making you unhappy and insecurely lashes out, I'm assuming insecurity based on lashing out with personal attack, it's best to do what makes you happy and remove them from your life. And other times people just drift apart. Personally, I wouldn't have sent a goodbye message if they were just not speaking to you. Naturally letting them just drift away is better sometimes, but that's just me. Realistically the only way to move on is to give it time. Understand that the relationship as is likely isn't worth salvaging, and understand that regardless of anything the sun will rise tomorrow. Next story 23. My, 28M, wife, 33F, says I am being an unsupportive spouse. My, 28M, wife, 33F, and I moved to a new neighborhood 6 months ago due to her job. We have a 5-yo and 3-yo. The neighborhood has a bunch of kids within their age range and the transition has been made easier because they've been able to make friends fairly quickly. The parents sometimes hang out. Since we are new and don't know anyone, I'd like to make some parent friends, but my wife and I are at odds. When we first moved here, one of the parents invited my wife and I over for drinks. We ended up canceling at the last second because my wife was having a hard day and needed that time to recharge. I didn't make anything of it because I get it, I too have my days when I'm overwhelmed and need a break. However, since then my wife swears that that couple is treating us differently. Our kids still play together, but she thinks the other mom feels snubbed and is now ignoring us. My wife wants nothing to do with those neighbors because she feels insulted. It's been a few months since this happened and I want to get back to hanging out with the other parents/neighbors. My wife is upset because she thinks I'm not supporting her by choosing to talk to the neighbors who snubbed her. We've been talking to them less because we don't spend as much time outside. It's like 103 in AZ. If the other mom is insulted, I think it's worth talking it out since we will be here for a while and it's good to be friendly with neighbors. Am I being unsupportive? Please be kind. I am autistic, so not always able to read between the lines. Now to the comment section. I agree with the other poster, your neighbor was snubbed. OFC, she is more distant now. That is a normal reaction to the situation you describe. Your wife is not going to gain anything by being offended that someone else was offended when she did something offensive. Her position is not reasonable or fair to the rest of the family. Your wife should mend fences, ideally, in whatever way she feels comfortable, talk it out, invite them over, offer to do something nice, etc. It will be better for your kids if you both are on good terms with everyone. The other mom feels snubbed because you snubbed her. Canceling last minute cause you just changed your mind and not because of any emergency is not responsible adult behavior. If you do cancel last minute, the proper move would be to invite them over yourselves at a later date, or bring a little present as an I'm sorry. You are right that it would be a good idea to smooth things over with the neighbors, since your kids play together, but you should tread lightly. If your wife sees this as an issue of you not supporting pushing too hard on this will hurt your relationship. I would suggest focusing on making other parent friends, and maybe gently bringing up being friendlier with the snubbed parents, since your kids play together. Don't push it, though. I agree with the other poster, your neighbor was snubbed. OFC, she is more distant now. That is a normal reaction to the situation you describe. Your wife is not going to gain anything by being offended that someone else was offended when she did something offensive. Her position is not reasonable or fair to the rest of the family. Your wife should mend fences, ideally, in whatever way she feels comfortable, talk it out, invite them over, offer to do something nice, etc. It will be better for your kids if you both are on good terms with everyone. 55. Reply. Share. User avatar. Level 1. Zabadudyud. 18 HR ago. The other mom feels snubbed because you snubbed her. Canceling last minute cause you just changed your mind and not because of any emergency is not responsible adult behavior. If you do cancel last minute, the proper move would be to invite them over yourselves at a later date, or bring a little present as an I'm sorry. You are right that it would be a good idea to smooth things over with the neighbors, since your kids play together, but you should tread lightly. If your wife sees this as an issue of you not supporting pushing too hard on this will hurt your relationship. I would suggest focusing on making other parent friends, and maybe gently bringing up being friendlier with the snubbed parents, since your kids play together. Don't push it, though. 81. Reply. Share. User avatar. Level 1. Sorry_I_guess. 17 HR ago. As a fellow autistic, I understand your confusion, and it's likely made worse by the fact that your wife is being completely illogical and irrational, so let me clear this up for you. You are not being unsupportive at all. Your wife is the perpetrator here, and I'm not sure if she's lashing out defensively because she knows it and is embarrassed, or if she really doesn't realize that she's the one who is in the wrong, but either way, she is the one who is in the wrong, on all fronts. While there was nothing wrong with canceling on plans if she really didn't feel up to them, she inconvenienced your neighbors, who had likely made food, were looking forward to having you over, etc., and probably hurt their feelings when she canceled at the last minute. If the neighbor is acting distant, it's not because they are snubbing your wife, but because their feelings are hurt, and in all this time your wife has never really apologized for the hurt or inconvenience. In terms of social expectations, she really should have rescheduled, and ideally invited them over to your place to make up for the missed get-together, as soon as possible after canceling in the first place. And she did none of that. She canceled and then just ghosted them. That's really hurtful. So you see why it's understandable that they'd be behaving towards her like, well, people who've had their feelings hurt? Again, they're not snubbing her, they feel like she has snubbed them. And now, your wife is taking it a step further and asking you to ostracize very nice neighbors who have done nothing more than have their feelings hurt because she has basically ghosted them after canceling plans at the last minute. You aren't being unsupportive by not going along with this. You're being rational, and hopefully steering her in a healthier, more socially sensible direction, and isn't it always funny when we, the autistic ones, end up being the ones who guide our neurotypical friends and partners into being more empathetic and social? LOL. I would suggest gently telling her that you understand that she is overwhelmed with the move, and feeling defensive, but that it seems like everyone has gotten off on the wrong foot, and that you feel like a better move would be to invite the neighbors over for that drink, or perhaps a fun barbecue or picnic with all the kids, to break the ice all over again and get to know each other properly, and get past whatever speed bump seems to have grown up between neighbors.